Hey guys, uh, sorry it took me a while to get on here and talk about a few things. I'm sorry it's dark, but I'm sure you guys can still see me, I hope. Um, Things are getting handled pretty quick. Uh, I'm still a little exhausted, guys. Forgive me. I just wanted to give thanks to Anthony DeFew. Thank you so much, man, for paying the rest of that. It's very, very good to know that I have supporters and I have people that got my back. And I mean, I was only in there a couple days, so imagine what the fellas are going through, the political prisoners. They're going through a lot, you know. I've been to county before. The food is not great. It's horrible conditions. I met a couple people in there. I met two fellas. They're Jewish brothers, and they. I'm trying to get their info right now. They have been denied kosher meals. They've also been denied the Torah. Sean M. Marks and Charlie Smith. Sean M. Marks, his inmate number is 2867944. They threw away his Torah because they said it was contraband. I couldn't believe it. It was like I was living in Nazi Germany. I could not believe what I saw. But I just want to put his name out there because I promised that I would let the world know about him. And also, I shared the story of the political prisoners to him and to the other gentleman. And the police and the powers that be felt by putting me in the jail would stop me from spreading the word, but actually it made the fire a lot bigger. The fire spread. The fire is getting bigger and bigger for our benefit. People are seeing the wrong that's going on. There was people in there that are supporters of the Democrats and the liberals, and after talking with them, they understand the Constitution a lot better. I broke it down for them. They have an understanding. They know that we aren't here to hate them. I spoke to them like they were human beings. I didn't dumb them down. I consider myself an iconoclast, a destroyer of images and myths that have been told to us for so many years, all our lives. And I took down that concept that most people believe that government gives us rights and grants us certain things and privileges. But I don't want to digress onto those things. I kind of wanted to let you all know that I talked with Kelly Stewart, John Lamb, Nathan Syme, Gavin Syme. Nathan Syme, thank you for flooding the calls, the call centers at the jails and the sheriff's office. They came to my room and told me to get my buddies to stop calling. I didn't know what he was talking about. I was like, is this guard on drugs, or is he off his meds? What's going on? But when I got out, I saw Nathan and Gavin Syme getting on the horn and getting all the Patriots together to demand that they release me, and that was just awesome. So Gavin Syme, I thank you. Brand Thornton too, I thank you as well, man, giving me the good speech. Angie Bundy as well. She reached out to me and we talked for a couple minutes, and just wanted to let her know that I support her family, and I'm doing this for the good reasons, for the good cause. And another thing, I noticed on the posts that from the videos, the live feeds, people were asking, where am I from? I'll tell you where I'm from. I'm from El Paso, Texas. I'm an American. I was born on William Beaumont Hospital on Fort Bliss. I was born on a military base. Patriotism is in my blood. Don't question my patriotism, because I'll never apologize for it. And I'm not a sovereign citizen. That's just something the government created to get you all to hate me. I'm not that. I'm an American, and I'm standing upon my constitutional right. So anyone else, if the FBI or the detectives that were interrogating me at the other point, if they're watching this, know that I'm standing upon my constitutional right. A person may stand upon his constitutional right, and I'm going to read you something from Hale v. Hinkle, page 201, U.S. 74. The individual may stand upon his constitutional right as a citizen. He is entitled to carry on his private business in his own way. His power to contract is unlimited. He owes no duty to the state or to his neighbors to divulge his business or to open his doors to an investigation so far as it may tend to criminate him. He owes no such duty to the state, since he receives nothing therefrom beyond the protection of his life and property. His rights are such as existed by the law of the land long antecedent to the organization of the state, and can only be taken from him by due process of law, and in accordance with the Constitution. Among his rights are a refusal to incriminate himself and the immunity of himself and his property from arrest or seizure except under warrant of law. He owes nothing to the public so long as he does not trespass upon their rights. Their rights. Whose rights did I trespass upon? We have rights, they have privileges. A right is having the sovereign authority to do something, because there's no one of higher authority to get permission from. A privilege is a temporary authority granted by someone of higher authority. They do not grant me permission. I have rights that are inherent. God gave me those rights. No one else gave me those rights. And that's all I was doing that day. I was trying to challenge their authority. They're treating our federal building as if it's a nightclub. They're treating it as it's only for those who want to abide by their rules. It isn't for everyone now. They've destroyed the Constitution. They totally ignored it. When I was being arrested, when they took me into the alley, and I'm so glad that you Patriots turned that corner, because they got out the car and they were ready to hurt me. They surrounded the car and they asked me, "Are you a tough guy now?" They were really mad at me. They were really upset with me, just because I was exercising my right. You know, it isn't the first time I've been wronged by Metro. You know, they said they were going to get me. They destroyed my keys. They broke the remote to my car. Greg Whalen witnessed that. I heard that he'd witnessed in the alley when they threw my keys to the ground. It was checked in. My property was checked in as broken keys. When I was in jail, they increased my bail. It went in review, and when it went in review, for some reason they increased it. So my bail was $640 at first. Then it increased to over $2,600. That's insane. Even the bail bondsmen, even the correctional officers in there were saying, "What is going on? Who are you? Why would they do this? I've never seen it so high for a simple obstruction of justice." They raised my bail. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how it ends. It matters how you stand. They didn't allow me to talk to my attorney. They refused my attorney to talk to me, which has never happened to me before. My attorney kept calling and calling and calling to try to get through to me, and they still refused. When I went to court, they did not allow me to speak. Some court-appointed attorney just said, "Well, you don't have a right to bail or a right to trial, a jury trial," because I demanded a jury trial. I reminded them that Article 1, Section 2 of the Nevada Constitution says that my paramount allegiance is to the constitutional republic the federal government, and they're supposed to protect my constitutional powers. But they didn't listen to that. They said, no, you don't have a right. Again, they're trying to tell me what my rights and privileges are. They want to ignore due process. Once the judge came in and they talked, they said, the judge, first thing she said was, okay, Mr. Martinez, we appointed you an attorney. I didn't ask for him. He's incompetent. I don't want to. They ignored me like I was a child, and they're my parents discussing what they're going to do with me next. That's not what our founding fathers wanted. If you're going to accuse me of a crime, you better provide me with 12 people from my community that will judge me by what my actions are. They're doing bench trials to avoid jury nullification. That is the whole purpose of that. They're afraid that a jury of my peers, that helpers, that true believers will find me innocent and release me of those charges. Again, I've been wronged before by Metro, but this is different because I tried to some of you saw the video where I went to the courthouse. My whole intention that day was to get names and to also document the refusal. I do want to fight this in the United States Supreme Court. I do want to fight it there, but in order to go in front of a judge, the judge is going to say, well, who denied you? Where are the names? Why did they deny you? I can't provide that unless I have the names. I went there for those things, and they refused. Even the marshals didn't want to give me their names. The DHS officers were kind enough to be the buffer and to relay messages back and forth. I tried my best. I even raised my shirt to show them, look, guys, I'm not armed. I'm here in peace. I'm trying to settle this matter, and I'm trying to go through the appropriate channels to get this done. But they still refused. They still refused to answer someone that gives them permission, because their power is derived from the consent of the governed. We the people, we have to remind them of that. We have to have that spirit. Abraham Lincoln said, we, the people, are the rightful rulers of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men who pervert it. How do you know if the Constitution has been perverted if you haven't read it? I understand now that the Constitution in the courts, especially these misdemeanor courts, is dead. It's dead because even one of the correctional officers said, well, did you not show ID? And I said, yeah, I did, and I refused. Well, you broke the law. It's not worth fighting it. They were betting on me just pleading out and taking the slap on the wrist and then going like doing a year probation. They read me the list of requirements that I would have to meet to complete probation if I would have pled guilty. I didn't plead guilty. I pled not guilty, and I set it for trial. But one of the funny things, one of the requirements that they were going to give me if I would have pled guilty was I had to stay away from the federal building, the federal courthouse. Even though the marshals never said they wanted me to leave. They never asked me to leave. But now they're trying to keep me away from the federal courthouse from filing lawsuits because they know that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to sue Metro for not just violating my constitutional freedoms, but my human rights. My right to be left alone isn't a right that's protected by the Constitution. It is a natural right. It is endowed by my Creator. I have the right to be left alone. I don't care what state you live in. Just because a state says that, oh, a cop can't ask you for papers and documentation or your birthday, any law that is repugnant to the Constitution, we should just nullify it. It holds no power. There's no duty to enforce it. Remember, the Constitution says that judges and officers are bounded by the Constitution and everything in it. They cannot make up laws and say it's constitutional. Who decides what's constitutional? We, the people, decide what's constitutional. You think we should rely on the United States Supreme Court to decide what's constitutional and what isn't? Remember, the U.S. Supreme Court at one time said that slavery was constitutional. So you're telling me they were right? Some of you out there, I know people like John Ann out there who really support the blue. You know what? I'm glad you support the blue. I support the blue line too. But you know what? There comes a point that if you're granting them too much power and they're abusing their power and they're abusing your fellow citizens, you're nothing but a Tory. You're nothing but a traitor to your neighbor. How dare you? How dare you welcome this act upon your neighbor? And you say, well, he should have just followed the law. You think I have constitutional rights because the document gives me those rights? I have rights because nobody's big and bad enough to come and take them from me. That is why. People, you can vote on my rights. You can vote on my rights to bear arms. Yeah, you can do that. But just like my teacher, Michael Badnarik, said, you'll have to take a second vote to decide which one of you is going to come and take my rights away. And that is a vote I suggest you don't win. We have to return to that spirit. We're detaching from our humanity. It is now a crime to be a patriot. If you're a patriot, you can get put on a no-fly list. Knowing you're constitutional, they call you a sovereign citizen. That is one of the detectives. That's what the detective was telling me. After I invoked my right to remain silent, they read me my Miranda rights, and I chose that in Miranda versus Arizona, they have to read you those rights. They have to read you those lines. You have the right to remain silent. Well, I invoked my right, and he still came back and said, listen, I know you invoked your right to remain silent, but what would you classify yourself as? Are you a sovereign citizen, or are you a free man? What they're trying to do is categorize me. They're trying to put me in a database and put me in that system saying, he's just a sovereign citizen. He's dangerous. I'm not dangerous. Those of you who know me know I'm not dangerous. I love. When I met some of the guys in jail, I met some pretty good people, and they heard me speak, and I had their attention, and they walked away with a different mindset. I had that whole cell just quiet, the holding tank quiet, and these guys were just opening up to me. Two people said, it's a very good thing what you're doing, but you might be assassinated. Somebody might want to kill you. I know that. And I'm willing to take that risk. All of us are taking that risk. There's going to be people out there that don't like what we're doing. But we can't be scared. We can't be scared anymore. We're the rightful rulers of the courts. And it breaks my heart that some of you out there see what's going on and you do nothing. Some people were encouraging that they hurt me. That's fine. You can wish ill upon me. I'll stand by you. Even if you wish me ill, I will stand by you if somebody tries to come hurt and take what's yours. I will stand by you because I stand on the principle of liberty, not on the politics, not on who is going to build the wall, who's going to deport, report, and deport. That's not who I'm standing with. I'm standing with love. That's who I'm standing with. And I'm sorry. I'm just sorry because it's my dad, everybody's worried. My mom, she's worried. People out there calling me an informant. You know what? Get off the drugs or find some mental health place to get help. I mean, come on. Just because I was in the front seat, get real. Get real, Joseph. Get real. This is getting silly. If you think I'm an informant, guess what? Don't talk to me. Don't say anything to me. Don't speak violence. Don't talk about anything that you think would cause you to be in any trouble. All I'm asking is that those who believe in true liberty, let's start standing up. Let's start going to these city councils, the legislative meetings. You know, Jeanette Finicum in John Day, she said, start taking part in your community, whether it's in the church, the city councils. Start going. Stop on the Facebook stuff. Stop with, oh, it's time for a revolution. How can you call for a revolution when you have not even exhausted the other channels, the other ways? There's ways to get this done. There are plenty of ways to get this done. And it just hurts that people rather get consumed by the drama. People rather do. I mean, it really, you know, it shouldn't matter. You know, sorry, I don't want to digress and go into the drama. I'm sorry, but I think it's time that we start doing, you know, putting our actions to the test and go out there and start questioning those who we put into power. Remember, when Ronald Reagan's inauguration, he said the states form the federal government. The states form the federal government. Without the states, there would be no federal government. We need to start controlling our states. We need to start first here. We need to start in our counties or cities. Go up and start taking back the power. Remember, Donald Trump in his inauguration, he said, "I'm transferring power from Washington back to the people." He's putting the voucher out there. Go and grab it. Go grab it and take hold of it and run. And whoever tries to stop you, you say, "This is an official declaration from the President of the United States that he's given me power, and I have it." Because if they can revoke privileges from us, if they can sell us back our rights and revoke them at any time, shouldn't we be able to revoke the power we give to them? How dare they act like they created us? We the people created them. That's like me deciding what God does. The creation cannot rule over the creator. That's what we have to start living by that again. Stop acting like you know the Constitution if you haven't read it. Read it before you start going out there and talking. People say that, oh, if you weren't born in this country, you ain't got no rights. Well, if you read the Constitution when it's talking about due process in the Bill of Rights, it says persons, the accused. In your complaint, your criminal complaint, it says the defendant, not the American citizen. Because when they wrote the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, blacks and Native Americans or the Indians were not considered American, but they still wanted jurisdiction over them. So what has to be done here is that we need to stop with this racism. I mean, we can stand on the principles of liberty and still serve right. We can still serve right. We can still accomplish the things that need to be done without the hate. Stop hating each other. Stop hating the Black Lives Matter. Stop hating the Muslims. Are you kidding? If you're so scared of Sharia law, why don't you start preserving the Constitution? Because once you preserve the Constitution, nothing else can take hold of our system. You're psyching yourself out, fearing something that really can't, that holds no power. You want to know a true evil law? Open up your city ordinances. Open up your Nevada revised statutes or your California penal codes. Start reading those. Start reading that. And then you see if Sharia law is really a threat. You think Sharia law is going to really do much damage? Start looking at the ordinances. I met a fella in jail who's in jail for spitting on the sidewalk. A cop didn't like the way he was acting. Yeah, the kid told me, yeah, I was being a smart mouth and I was talking smack. He turned to the side, spit on the ground to clear his throat. They locked him up for that. Come on, wake up. Wake up. You know, I'm sorry, I'm really exhausted. I'm really exhausted, and I don't get much sleep, and you know, I'm trying my best to make this video, but again, my eyes and I don't know, man. I need to go camping or something. This is just really getting to me, and you know, to see the political prisoners fighting for their lives, and the courts don't want us passing out constitutions. They don't want us peacefully assembling. When you see the rules that they were enforcing at the courthouse, and you see what they're doing, and some of you say, well, there's a reason for that. If your government is so scared of you recording them, but yet they don't need your permission to record you, there's something wrong there. You need to start questioning that. Go to those facilities and be like, no, what is it? What's going on? And you have a right to question them. I keep saying that. I keep telling people that you have rights. They have privileges. All rights derive from property. If you have no property, you have no rights. My teacher, Michael Bednarik, always tells me that. All rights derive from property. Look at the First Amendment. Protects your right to speech, your right to think, your right to develop a personality. Those things are inherent. Nobody gave those to you. And they cannot infringe on that. Where does that come from? Your body, your property. Read the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. All persons have a right to be secured in their person, houses, papers, and effects. They say your persons because that's your property. Houses, property. Papers, property. Your effects, more property. That's the beauty. Our founding fathers wanted us to know that property is very important. Property is just as important as the law of God. If your property is at risk every day and somebody can come and rip them away, what good is calling your nation a republic if you don't truly live it and embrace that spirit? We need to embrace that. We need to remind our rulers that we preserve the spirit of resistance. We don't have to go and really show them by doing outrageous things. Show them that we preserve that spirit, that it still lives with us. But we'll do our best to go through the proper channels to change things for the good. Without that, you have nothing. You have nothing. I love you guys. I thank you for being there. I mean, I wish more people would show up at the trial. I want to see that sidewalk filled. I lost 2 jobs. They fired me because of obviously my participation in the movement. But will I stop? No. I will not comply. I will not comply. Period. It's going to be hard to buck the system, guys. It's going to be hard. They took away my non-political common law ID. They said it was in proper use. I asked them who said that. They said they're returning it to the state. Well, I'm giving the state a call. I'm waiting for them to call me back because I'm going to give it to them. I'm going to let them know that you can't do that. You can't deprive me of my property. The detective just knew who I was. When they took me from the alley and they took me to the police station, 2 detectives walked up to the car that I was in before they put me in the car that transported me. They said, yep, that's Joshua Martinez. We know who he is. He's been a problem for us. I've been a problem. That's what they said. An American who stands on his constitutional right is a problem now. Yeah. And that's a guy who wears a badge. That's a guy who stands behind the blue. That's the guy who some of you say support and back him up. He took away my ID because he didn't like what I had to say. He didn't like the way I was using it. He deprived me of property with no due process. If he disagrees with what I'm using it for, take me to court. Settle these disputes in court. That's why we're the rightful masters of the courts. Like I said, all rights derived from property. Go to any courtroom. Go to criminal court. Go to divorce court, juvenile court. What are they discussing in criminal court? The damage to property, to either someone's the intentional, malicious destruction of property or one's body, which is property. Go to family court. You got two people who are married, both divorcing, separating their property. They're also splitting up the house, the car, the house, the kids, property. We can settle disputes in court. That's exactly what they were trying to do in Oregon and here in Bunkerville. The courts are meant for us to use to settle these disputes without resorting to violence. The courts are supposed to keep that balance. Whenever the natural order of things is disturbed, the courts come into play to restore that balance. That's why you go, the judge hears your case, hears both sides, and then decides according to law. I have trial in March. I don't have a jury trial. I have a bench trial. Two people who are obviously going to throw the book at me, but I'm still going. You know, I'm going to stand upon my constitutional right. That judge is not going to like me. I'm going to speak up and let my voice be heard. Do your worst to the police or to anyone who want to shut me up. Do your worst. I'm a free human being. I'm the flesh, blood, and bone. We can do it. I mean, stand with me. Stand with me. Even if you disagree with what I'm saying, stand with me. We can disagree. I'll help you. I'll stand with you. And I'm just thankful for everybody that came through. I've never felt that way. I mean, I had calls from people who I'd never met before, worried about me. And that's a very good feeling. I'm trying my best. I'm sure I'm sure I'm going to lose it in that trial. But again, if I lose, I'm still going to continue to make the argument. That's what liberty is all about. You keep standing up to that big tree, because we're the small axe that's sharpened to cut you down. I love you guys. Forgive me, I wanted to go over more, but my memory is just exhausted. I wanted to try to get a hold of Skipper, Doug Knowles, and Greg Whalen, and really thank them for being there, because I think if it wasn't for them, I definitely would have been beat up in that alley. They did hit me in the ribs, but it didn't really hurt that much. They punched me good enough to where I felt it. But that's happened to me before. Some of you that I've talked to in the past know that Metro officers have choked me. They've slapped me around. Those actions don't even surprise me from Metro. What surprises me more is that a lot of people back them up. A lot of people support their actions. I've had bad encounters with police before. I'm just happy that one finally it got recorded and documented and exposed. I'm calling to you guys to start going and filing redressive grievances to your cities and your states. Don't be scared anymore. Let's do this for Jeanette Finicum and her daughters and her sons, the Finicum family. They deserve our help. And you can help them by speaking up. Don't back down. LaVoy would want that. When I watch the videos of LaVoy, that really helps. Because it gives me my bravery back. And LaVoy was such a strong man. He was so kind. He was so nice. When I saw the video where he was going around his property and he was finding a lot of the hose cut, he would go, repair them, and move on. And it hurt because they were bullying him. He was nice. He didn't make a big deal out of it. He repaired it and moved on. And they picked on a man who understood the principle of liberty. And they still treated him like he was nothing. Is that the country you want for our kids? Is that what you want? Look at your kids right now. And imagine what kind of government they will have if we don't step up and do something. Imagine that. Some people say, well, we're better off than other countries. In other countries, oh, you can't even do this. Oh, you don't have rights. Yeah, but how did they get there? It's a gradual process. You take away the people's rights little by little, and then eventually you have a police state. You better start doing something now before it's too late and they start loading you onto cattle trailers. If those of you who have read the history of Hitler, you'll understand that 98% of the people voted for him. 98%. He didn't just roll in with tanks. It's a gradual process. Those things, tyranny comes as in a slow, gradual process in our government now. They learned from Hitler. They said, no, you can't just go in and do what he did. You got to do it a little bit different. Control, little by little. Licensing every activity we want to engage in. I can't even go inside of the federal courthouse because I don't have proper identification. They obviously knew who I was. It wasn't a security issue. It was because of what I stand for. But that's not going to stop me. I'm going to continue on. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'll confess right now. I will confess. When I was in that cell, I really asked myself, is this what I really want to keep doing? Is this how it's going to be? Probably. But we just have to keep doing it. We just have to keep on, man. We got to keep on going. Now, guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna, cut this video a little short. I'm just really, really tired. But I will do another live video, shortly. I kind of want to go over some things as far as the constitutional rights, constitutional powers, and try to inspire, like I did to those guys up in the jail. They asked me not to give up. They told me, don't give up. What you're doing is a very bold thing. Some of them, they all got my information. They're like, we want to look you up when we get out. They said you inspired us. We loved hearing you speak. So to those who wanted me in jail, know that the virus has spread. Everything LaVoy has taught, everything LaVoy stood for, emulated for my body. It was shining from me. It was shining from me, and they picked up on that, and they said, that's the type of liberty I want. That's the type of spirit I want. Because I'm free. I'm not bounded by anyone. Only my God. All my rights are inherent. God-given rights. Whether you're atheist, if you're atheist and you believe you're the result of the Big Bang, if you believe you're the result of evolution, bottom line is, your rights don't come from government. But both religious and secular both want the same thing, is to be left alone. I love you guys. I'll try to do another video later. I'm so sorry. I know I'm stuttering on my words. I really don't speak like this. When I open up and I speak differently, but I'm just really, really exhausted, guys. And it's not just from the jail. It's just from just being up all these days and really trying to get things done. And I just wanted to take this chance to thank everybody who was there, and to thank everyone who was really there to support the cause and stood by the principle of liberty. I love every single one of you. And I thank you. Again, Gavin Sign. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. But anyways, guys, I love you. Remember, it doesn't matter how it ends. It matters how you stand. Let's not let LaVoy's words die. He's not dead. He lives on. He lives on through us and each one of you. He called you to do something. Speak up. Make your voice be heard. Start the redress of grievances. Start taking your rights back. We gave them power. Now it's time to take back that power. Love you guys.